Do you remember your childhood, playing your favorite game late at night and feeling like the game wasn't just a distraction, but a place? Not sad, just quiet. A little empty in a way that didn't scare you. It felt like the world didn't need you, but it would make room for you if you stayed. That feeling is what I want to talk about. Why older games felt lonely from a human point of view. First, the quiet wasn't just the absence of sound, it was the game stepping back so you could step in. When you walk through Clock Town, for example, at night in Majora's Mask, there was enough space for your thoughts to follow you. You noticed small things, a person on a bench, a lamp that flickered, the way the music slowed down like evening in a real neighborhood. Nothing begged for your attention, and because the world didn't push, you leaned towards it on your own. That small choice, leaning in, makes the place feel personal. Loneliness also came from the feeling that time belonged to the world and not to you. Majora's Mask is the clear example. People had routines you could learn but not control. If you were late, the moment had already passed. That stings a little, and it should. It's a reminder that other lives move on, even when you aren't watching. Strangely, that makes the world feel kinder, not colder. When you finally do arrive at the right moment and help someone, the win feels earned because it almost didn't happen. You weren't the sun the world revolved around, you were one person who showed up on time. It's a small human victory, and those are the ones we remember. Animal Crossing gave a softer version of that same truth. The town didn't judge you, but it noticed you. Neighbors remembered if you'd been gone. Your mailbox filled up. Weeds made a little mess you could clean. It's gentle accountability. A town that says, "We kept going, but we are glad you're back." That can feel lonely at first, because you realize you're not essential. Then it becomes comforting, because you're still welcome. It's the difference between being needed and being wanted. Needed is pressure, wanted is warmth. Another piece of the feeling is how those games treated your attention. They gave you one or two things to look at, not 10. That made every small act feel bigger than it was. Donating your first fossil to the empty museum in Animal Crossing changes the whole room for you. Not because the room is different, but because now it holds a story you put there. You walk through and hear that quiet echo and think, "I did that." Loneliness here isn't a void, it's the blank page that lets your small marks matter. Travel did something similar. In The Wind Waker, for example, sailing isn't dramatic, it's patient. For long stretches, nothing special happens. You listen to water, you watch the horizon, and your brain settles into a slower rhythm. That time gives you permission to think about where you've been and where you're going. By the time an island appears, you're ready to pay attention. It's the same feeling as heading to a friend's house on foot. The walk is part of the visit. You arrive more present because you had time to arrive. The loneliness in that ocean is the friendly kind. The kind that sits beside you and doesn't ask for anything. Metroid Prime takes the idea in a different direction. You arrive somewhere after the story has mostly ended. You read logs, you scan ruins, you piece together what happened without anyone lecturing you. It's a quiet kind of respect. The game trusts you to understand without being handled through every thought. That trust feels lonely because you don't have a partner talking in your ear, but it also feels adult. You are responsible for how much you take in. When a game gives you that responsibility, the world feels less like a ride and more like a place you're learning to read. Pikmin adds a human layer through care. You're not alone, but you are the one accountable. Your little group follows you because you said so, and daylight is short. When the sun drops, you leave because staying would hurt them. That end of day lift-off can feel quietly heavy. You count who made it. You accept what didn't. It's a small ritual that turns a cute game into a thoughtful one. Loneliness here is the weight of being the grown-up in the room, even if the room is a garden. These games also understood social scale. They didn't flood every space with people or chatter, so the few faces you met stood out. You remember single conversations. You remember one person's daily route. That focus lets empathy show up. In Majora's Mask, for example, helping someone isn't a checklist item. It's time you chose to give to them. When the moon hangs over everything and you still stop to deliver a letter or play a song for a stranger, you feel the cost of your choice and the quiet joy of it. Loneliness presses you into noticing others more, not less. Another reason the feeling sticks is memory. Quiet moments are easier to store. Without a stream of pop-ups, your brain tags the place with whatever you brought to it that night. How your room felt, what you were worried about, even the weather outside your window. Later, hearing a certain tune from Animal Crossing isn't just game music.
Nintendo.
It's summer, windows open, one lamp on, nothing urgent. The game leaves enough room for your life to sit next to it, and that blend becomes a memory that's yours, not just the developers. It also mattered that these worlds didn't perform to prove they were alive. They didn't compensate for emptiness with constant noise. They accepted the quiet and let you find meaning within it. When a space is a little empty, you approach it with more care. You walk slower in a temple. You listen for a cue you might miss. You read a sign you could ignore. That slower posture makes you feel present. Presence is the real heart of the good, lonely feeling. The sense that you are the one person here and now, and the world would go on without you. But it's better because you are paying attention. There is a simple human rule hiding inside all of this. When something doesn't ask for all your attention, you give it more willingly. Old games rarely demanded constant focus. They invited it. They made room for your curiosity, your patience, your small rituals. Starting the console at night, choosing one path across a field, checking your letters, sitting still on the ship for a minute because the sea sounded nice. These little acts feel private, which is why they feel important. I'm not saying every game should be slow or quiet. Some should be loud on purpose. But when a game wants that old feeling, the path is straightforward on the human level. Give the player room to arrive. Let the world keep its own schedule. Keep conversation specific and spare so the few lines matter. Create small tasks that change how a room feels, not just what a counter says. Use music that supports attention, not competes with it. And once in a while, let nothing happen for a moment. It's amazing how often nothing is what makes you stay. That's why loneliness felt good. It was permission to be small in a world that would be fine without you, and to make small things matter anyway. When a game gives you that, you don't just beat levels, you live somewhere for a while. And when you leave, the place keeps going. That knowledge is strangely comforting. It means you can return anytime and the world will still make room. So, why did old games feel lonely? Because they gave us what real life rarely does anymore. Space to exist without being watched, measured, or needed. They didn't chase our attention. They trusted us to bring it. And when a world leaves enough silence, our minds fill it with meaning. That's not just nostalgia, that's human nature. We connect most deeply when something is quiet enough for us to hear ourselves. Thanks for listening.